Hi, it's Shar, and this is another video for Insider Secret concerning narcissist, sociopath, and psychopath. This is probably one of the most important things that you need to learn to do, but it's also not the easy one. You know, when we hurt ourselves, or if you cut your finger or break a bone, in order for you to heal, we create a self-environment. We clean it out, and then we create a self-environment and give it time. And just like when you break a leg, when you are leaving a narcissist or sociopath, psychopath, you have to create that safe environment so that you can heal, and it requires you to go no contact. I know I had teetered around it for a while. My very first narcissist that I had was my mother, and I probably needed to go no contact with her years before it actually happened because there was a very abusive cycle that was continuing. And in order to go no contact with somebody, what you do is you're cutting all ties. And you're also cutting ties with active supporters who enable or who become their flying monkeys. And I'll make some more videos later on what all of those are. They're apath type personality. And in the process of going no contact, you have to understand that you are going to experience every arsenal the narcissist has in their toolbox for attacking you. It's their defense mechanism. And you know, there is no black or white. They have, it's on or off, bad or good. So you're either all in or all out. There's no in between with them. So as you start this no contact process, just know that you're going to see things that you might not have seen before. And if you've seen them before, they're going to be turning the volume up on those. And it can get very bad very quickly. So if you are exiting a domestic relationship and you don't feel safe, I would say absolutely get a no contact order issued by the courts. There's criminal ones, there's civil ones. It doesn't mean that they're always there to protect you. I know in my case, it did not at all. However, it is down the road providing some justice and some accountability for his lack of respecting boundaries. So I know with my, like I said, with my mother, I had found out that she had opened some credit cards in my name. And after I was able to get her in a corner where she admitted that she did it, and I asked her why, she said it was because she knew I would forgive her. And so I took a really hard look at myself, and I realized that I'm actually teaching her how to treat me. I've done that my whole life. Well, she actually groomed me for that. And that I wasn't going to allow this to happen anymore. And while that's one of the most pivotal relationships, I don't believe that we go through life, even though I don't have any contact with my mother, I have somebody else who is that in my life, and it's a healthy version of that. And so when I went with no contact with my mother, I just told her, she doesn't live in the state, I'm an adult, so it was a lot easier to go no contact with her and for her to keep her distance. And every once in a while, once every year or two, she might reach out on social media and send me a little message, and that's fine. Just because you're a family member doesn't mean I have to lower my standards. You need to either raise your standards, or if you're not going to treat me to the level of respect I'm used to, then you can't be in my world anymore. And the most important thing with my mother was that when she reprogrammed her reality, so she, the narcissist personality will, if you ever overhear them tell a situation, they're fantastic storytellers, and they'll change stories just a little bit to make them look a little bit better or a little bit more grandiose. And I remember seeing that repeatedly when I was growing up, and until this credit card situation happened with me, and the one day she admitted it, but then the next day she's turning around telling family members whom I hadn't even spoke to, I wasn't going to speak to, her reality was that I had allowed her to do it. And that after our narcissist tells themselves their new reality a couple times, they actually reprogram their reality. And what the real truth is never the truth. So if I had saw behavior in my mother where she was taking accountability for her actions, then we would have something to talk about, but that wasn't going on. So there was no contact, it still remains that way, and I wish her the best. With my narcissist number one, this is the father of my children. Going no contact with somebody who you have children with is darn near impossible. It just is not a tactic. You can't, especially when you have young children. I know when I first was getting divorced from my ex, and he would come over and just get his narcissistic feed of energy of just that negative. If they're not going to get the positive of us thinking they're everything, then they're going to go for that negative and seeing my reaction or my fear. that I started teasing him, and I would ask him, I was like, you still like me, don't you? Because, if you didn't, you wouldn't be over here spending all this energy, kind of the little kid chasing the little girl around the playground and pulling your ponytail. And he actually just got quiet and left. And from that point on, he doesn't really have a whole lot to say to me directly. He does use our children kind of as pawns, and they'll see that as they get older. But I ended up learning to do a tactic called gray rock. And you would do this with anybody that you can't go no contact completely with. And it actually just kind of lets them be in charge. It's easier for everyone involved. It's where you become as exciting and interesting as a gray rock. That's it. When they ask you about things, you got nothing. You got nothing going on. And it was really easy when my kids were younger because they didn't think that mom did anything. Mom has no life. And so I was able to do gray rock pretty easy with him up until I started getting some success in my career. And he had some different tactics then. But for the most part, the reason being that you go gray rock is that you're not going to give them any drama or any attention. And eventually they just start discard you and move on. And so you completely have to get your ego out of the way when you're dealing with them because they think you're nothing, and so let them think that you're nothing. I know when our children graduated, our oldest, I had thrown a graduation party, and then he had thrown a graduation party, and nobody came to mine. Everybody went to his, and I remember thinking in that moment, I felt silly that I didn't see this one coming, but the kids don't have to feel like there's a competition. I don't want to put them in the middle. And so from that point on, he could throw the graduation parties. I ended up reaching out to ask if I could help cover some of the cost or help some of the planning, and he refused, and I was not allowed to go to the graduation parties. And so he would throw these parties, and I wasn't allowed to come. The kids knew it. It was acceptable. It's not really acceptable, but you know what? It was their day, not mine. And I had all the memories. So you just kind of go gray rock. And even when there were some really bad things through the years that he did that completely showed any lack of respect for me, I was giving him more credit than I should have because he doesn't respect me. So just go gray rock. They can't really get to you. They can. You'll talk to your girlfriends or your friends about that, okay? Narcissist number 2. Now, when I decided to go no contact with him, I actually was married to him, so filed for divorce, went no contact. I blocked him on phones. I blocked him on email. I had a no contact order against him. It got very toxic very quickly, and then he went on his smear campaign, which kept him busy for a while. And that was really nice, would be the word, because of his black and white mentality, he went and he made people choose what side they're on. So it was very clear for me who his people are, who my people are, and it was very easy to get through that initial process. I blocked him. Earlier this year, got a new phone. And when you get a new phone, the blocks don't carry over. And so I don't know if through the years he was sending messages to my own phone, but he ended up getting messages through. And I had actually thought that there might be a chance that we could be friends, and had kind of toyed with some conversations with him. Now he has moved on. He's got a new girlfriend, and they've been together for a couple years, but here he is just kind of coming around, and he would message me, but then he would just disappear. He wouldn't get reactions anymore. He wouldn't respond. But when he sends me a message, I was responding out of respect. And that's called ghosting, where they just disappear. They're just gone. Or the silent treatment. And what I realize now is that you have to keep the no contact order in place forever. Because these people know how to kind of sneak back in and wiggle back into areas that they have not earned the right to be in to start with. And so staying no contact with an ex is exactly what needs to happen. Now, that doesn't mean they won't continue to try to reach out to you in different ways, creating fake Facebook accounts that you get to friend, and they could still feel like they're in charge and they're keeping tabs on you. And that's mainly when I look back, I see what my narcissist number 2 did, is he just wanted updates on where I was at in life and really enjoyed when I was struggling. didn't enjoy so much when I was doing good. So narcissist number 3 is the psychopath. And from the beginning, when I tried to go no contact with him, he just created chaos, widespread chaos. A side note, this is a person who is a career criminal his entire life. He takes advantage of people. I didn't know these things about him until afterwards. But I blocked him on all phones, emails, social media. We didn't have really any friends or anything together, so that part wasn't very hard. He went as far as to create a fake persona that he was now a mortgage lender so that he could continue his process of smear campaign in my industry. He, after that, went on to start creating fake Facebook pages, and there was a common thread through all of them, so I knew who he was, and it was with the no contact order in place. It was almost very narcissistic that he would know that I knew who it was, but how do you prove it? For instance, his dog's name, one of his very first assaults on me was from a Facebook profile called Bruno Bornero. That's his dog's name. And it's not out there anymore. You can't find it. And he went and assaulted a few of the networking events that I'd gone to. And so then deleted that page, but then created another one that was called Bruno Vinny. And then from that one, he'd create a Bruno Vito. And so there was always a common thread, and then it was always attack. Whoever this social media person was on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, it was always the same. And so I knew exactly who it was and what was going on, but you know, you just kind of clean up and just keep moving. There's still no contact. I give him no contact. He gets nothing from me. And just me recording the incidences. The other thing you have to do in order to create a successful no contact is, and again, I'm going to mention, if you're in any physical or immediate danger, remember to just call the police and get a no contact order in place. And while it's not fail proof, it is a good start. And they will have some help available to you to be able to overcome the physical abuse and the immediate danger, because knowledge is power. So if you're needing some tips on how do you go no contact, you're going to block them on your phone. Better yet, change your phone number. They won't be able to call you. Block them on social media from seeing you. They love to watch you from afar. So even if you haven't blocked them, they can still see you. That's enough for them. Block them on email, or better yet, set up a new email address. Stay clear of regular spots or hangouts that you frequent together or that you know that they hang out at. Just don't go there. If friends make a suggestion that they want to go somewhere and you know that's a hangout of his, just make the suggestion to go somewhere else. And set clear boundaries with friends and family that they are to provide no updates or act as any go-in-betweens the two of you. It's very easy for a sociopath, psychopath to create what's called APAS. I got the website up, so I'm going to share this with you real quick. And they are people who are an incredibly important part of the sociopath's arsenal. And they don't even realize that they're doing it, okay? Sociopaths have an uncanny knack of knowing who will assist them in bringing down the person they're targeting. It's not necessarily easy to identify an APAT in other circumstances. An APAT can show ample empathy and concern for others, just not in this case because they're being whispered at in one ear from the sociopath. And so they really taint people's viewpoints. So there are people who would absolutely not attack another person, but here in the middle of a situation they are. And it's because the sociopaths are so good at aiming in on people's weaknesses and hurts that they'll start manipulating and turning things so that that person will buy into their motive or their agenda of getting that person back or giving updates or knowing what's going on. So go and look at APAS. There's a lot of information there that will help you understand how you get through and how to set good budgets, or not good budgets, sorry, good boundaries. And you know what? This would also be a great time to start a new hobby or volunteer your time. When you get busy, you don't have time to miss them. And so it's when you're sitting at home watching, or you're in your car sad, that you'll miss them. So go volunteer, because even on your worst day, you're better than somebody else out there. Go volunteer at a homeless shelter, a women's shelter. Go volunteer at your church. Go volunteer at your kids' school. Just go volunteer. And through that, you're going to meet some really great people. Maybe find a church or a spiritual base. You can volunteer there also. I know for me, when I divorced my narcissist number one, I took my kids on a vacation I'd always wanted to go to Mount Rushmore, and my ex wouldn't let me because he'd been there already. And so we planned a vacation, and it was on a budget. We drove, it was a long drive, and I was sent off to the book, South Dakota, and told each kid they had a day and they could pick 3 activities that we did, and they had a certain budget. And it actually turned out to be one of the best vacations we've ever taken. So those things that you could put on your on your future, on your radar, to kind of see you through the immediate storms. And it also gave the kids something to look forward to also. Through this time of change where they didn't have a lot of control, it let them know that this is coming, and I'm letting them be in control of a day. And we had a great time. Remember, the no contact order should remain in effect, or you go no contact, until the bond has been completely severed. And this can take several years. It can also just go on forever. Especially like my narcissist number 2 keeps weaving in and out. I'm a constant source of energy with him. There is just no contact. There never can be again. And once you moved on down the road, you have to be very careful not to make the mistake of believing that he or her has changed, because you have, and you will. You'll learn things. They don't. Because in order to change, you have to truly be able to go look in the mirror and take accountability for your part of it. My part of that would be my story of how my narcissist number 2 reached out to me earlier this year and kind of weaseled his way back in. So remember, the no contact goes both ways, okay? These are tools on how you kind of set up camp against them, but also what can you do when you start wanting to reach out to them? Because you can't. The no contact goes both ways. I know for myself and my phone, if I wanted to send a text, I'd send the text, write it out, send it to myself. And at least I got to write it out. You might journal, call a friend, or join an online support group. Take a shower, just change your scenery. Work with a craft or hobby, go for a walk, go to the gym, go play with the kids, clean your house. Just don't do everything that's reminding you of them. Don't put the sad music on. Don't get sucked into sad things that use up your energy. You're going to make sure that you're doing those things that stock your energy back up. And remember to do the internal work that needs done so that you don't get pulled into another narcissistic relationship, because if you don't do that work, you will continue the cycle. Remember, you're amazing. Right here. Nip thinks so also. Right here today, as you are. You don't need to change a darn thing. You are fantastic as you are. You're a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. You were designed from your beginning that way. And you have never walked this world before. And after your life is over, you've only got this one life to make the difference. So just know that you're amazing and that we are all powerful. I believe that we're all connected. Now I want you to go and love somebody today, especially yourself. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.